And a lot of people say, oh, if I was in that situation, I would have done this.
Right.
And I used to think the same thing.
But they're not in that situation.
once you end up being in that situation, it's totally different. You'd react, even though you say that you react like, oh, I would have done this, I would have done that.
Right.
It's not the same as actually going through it. Because I used to think the same way. I used to be like, oh, if that ever happens to me, I'd kick their ass.
Or they would say, oh, I would go to the
at
cops.
the moment that really did happen to me, I was terrified. I couldn't even move.
Right. And not only that,
to the point that I was
it's
terrified.
like they can try to put themselves in the shoes, but until you're in that situation, you realize that you're going to be thinking about the people that didn't believe you. You're even going to be doubting your own self, like, did I imagine this? You're going to be saying, what if I did something to provoke this? You're going to be feeling like it's your fault, like you're dirty, like you're dirty on the inside. You're going to take showers and you're going to feel like you're still dirty. And it's because of the psychological damage that has happened. No matter what you do or how you dress, there's going to be somebody that does not come with good intentions and will try to harm someone else. So it doesn't matter if you're completely naked or you're completely dressed up from head to toe. There's going to be people with bad intentions, and it is not your fault. So that's the first thing you need to understand, that it is not your fault, and you need to stand your ground and surround yourself by people who support you, and try hard not to listen to the people that don't support you and doubt you. There's a lot of those. So maybe right now you're judging the people that have been raped or have been through sexual assault or harassment. And you're like, well, why didn't they report it? It's not that easy. It's not first about the humiliation, the doubts, the everything, the judgment and everything that you feel on top of you is insane.
And also another thing that people say would be that people usually say, oh no, you need to be quiet. You shouldn't be talking about those things. And it's totally wrong. Once you start talking about it, it gets easier to deal with. And that's what I didn't learn until a few years ago. That we should be talking about it instead of shutting ourselves up for it.
Talking of this, I remember that even when you were going through that situation that happened in California, my parents actually sided with her and went to report this individual, but the person that they went to report them to told them and backed them away, telling them that this person was an amazing person, and not to speak of this person because they had this person in such a high pedestal that whatever they say was not going to be believed. My parents then turned around and didn't do much after that, because the only thing that my sister was going to get was judgment, and for them to step all over her testimony. Now later on we found out that this person actually had other stories or other accusation made against them for things that were a lot more serious. It's not that were more serious, but they got a lot more serious than just a sexual harassment or sexual assault.
And it was hard because that person that he did that to was extremely close to me. And it made me cry to a point that it even made me feel like if it was my fault, because I didn't say anything. And I felt like if I would have told them something, that wouldn't have happened. And it was the worst feeling, and it got me more angry, not at the person in general, but at myself. And it brought me to a point where I felt like everything was my fault, that I should have been better at speaking, I should have done things differently. But at the same time, it really wasn't my fault, because I wasn't the one doing that problem. It was him.
That's what some people don't understand, is once the damage is done, once the pain is out there, once the individual is hurt and broken, you can try and attempt to repair the person and attempt to do everything you can to for that person himself or herself to fix themselves, but they never end up the same. It's always going to be the fact of always remembering. And even till this day and day, I sometimes morning wakes me up because I'm having certain nightmares that out of anxiety, out of stress, out of hearing certain similar stories, I reflect back to what happened to me, and they give me nightmares. And in some of those nightmares, it's just me remembering things that happened, or me going through the same thing over again. It's a traumatizing experience that is hard to get over. And even if you get over it years later, you have the scars to look back to and see what happened to you and the damage that was caused. There's people that don't come out of that. There's people that don't make it out of that. There's people that commit suicide that completely turn to other things in other ways that are not healthy or safe to get over what happened to them. So I believe that every one of us has someone that we love, whether it's a sister, a brother, a daughter, someone that we love that we would hate for something like this to happen to. And we need to be sympathetic of people who have been through this, because we don't know the day tomorrow it might happen to one of our loved ones, and it's something really harsh and devastating to go through, even for the person watching it. Like, you can't imagine the anger I felt, that I know what happened to me as a kid, and I protected my little sister. She's my little sister. I protected my little sister so much so that something like this that happened to me wouldn't happen to her. And no matter how much I tried to shield her from all this, something ended up happening to her. And it was with the people that you would least expect it with. Yeah. You don't trust, not because, and all due respect to churches, all due respect to everything out there, but not because somebody even is dressed in the Holy Bible and everything, doesn't mean that you need to trust them. Because the last people that we need to trust are humans. Humans are humans. We don't trust humans. I mean, if our own family sometimes betrays us. This is why we need to be very careful of our loved ones, of our younger ones, because of the same reason. And always tell them and talk to them. If someone touches you inappropriately, let me know. This is what you need to let them know, that they need to be open with you if someone tries to touch them, and let the person know that they're not allowed to touch you. Anything else you would like to add?
And don't stay quiet.
Don't stay quiet.
Because the more you stay quiet, the worse it will be for others and for yourself.
You fall into denial, and that's something you don't want to do either. I mean, it may seem a safe place at first, but it's not.
It can also ruin you, because it builds up anger, emotion, and at some point you can break, or you can commit suicide. It's
better to heal, and I know it's not something easy to talk about. Actually, it's not even easy for me to say or talk about all the subject or anything like this. I'm in a lot better place where I am able to talk about it a lot more without breaking down, but it's something very serious. And nobody is no one to judge you for what you went through, because I know there's a lot of idiots, and I'm thinking of one person right now. To me, it was unfair for the girl, because the girl is 13, 14 years old. She doesn't buy her own clothes. There's parents who buy their clothes, and they are the ones that should be teaching them, to dress, how to dress and things like that. They decide what they put in their house. But to me, it was unfair, because the person who raped the girl was her own father. So to me, I think it's unfair, because a real father will look at their daughter as their daughter and nothing else. And I believe that that's not an excuse. I understand that, well, I personally was taught not to dress certain ways, but that doesn't mean, or that doesn't make it okay for someone to come and touch them, or to come and assault them or harass them.
And it's not even about the way they dress, because a guy or any person that's gonna do something harming to somebody else is not because they're looking at the way they're dressed most of the time.
I mean,
because they can be covered to the max.
They could do it to people who dress that way. But I see your point. Yes, it is true, because this hasn't happened to only people who just dress like with mini skirts and showing all their, a bunch of cleavage and all that. This has happened to a lot of people that don't dress that way, because they see them vulnerable. They see them alone. They see like they can take advantage of them without anybody else finding out. I mean, when I was 5, going back to this, when I was 5, I dressed with long skirts, long dresses, shirts that were, necklined and all that. I mean, I wasn't even allowed to wear short-sleeved shirts. I had to wear medium-sized shirts. So how does this person provoke someone to do this? Not only that, this person is a small person. It's a small kid. It's a 5-year-old. They don't have the conscience or the mentality to think sexually out of their nature. They're kids. So this doesn't only happen to people who dress according to people indecently, or people who happen to dress provocatively. Sorry, but this happens to any individual. So we need to be mindful of that. So yes, speak. It is not your fault, and do not let anyone judge you or change your mind on what happened. Stand your ground and be honest.
And instruct your kid. So this is the end of our video.
We may share other stories like this. This was just kind of like a preview, I guess, of these stories because we didn't get into detail about what happened, but we might. So
Only time will tell.
only time will tell.
Make sure you follow my sister on her YouTube channel, which is
Arnold and Jojo La Manzanita, or Far Ever Travels. Yes. Yes.
Forever Travels.
Forever Travel. And like, share, and subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell.
And share this with somebody that it might help. And shout out to my emotional support dog, Blue. Right,
Blue.
mamas, you my mamas.
Yes, you're my mom. Oh no! Oh, she got on me. It takes two.
They're cute.
So hashtag speak out. She's just
yeah.
oh.
It kind of like, I feel like it cracked.
Yeah, it sounded like it hurt.